Hello, and welcome to today's event, Simplify and Streamline Accounts Payable with SAP BTP. Today's event is being recorded on behalf of the Nimble Corporation. If you do not consent to being part of a recorded session, please disconnect your line at this time. The recording will be available at the same location you used to join today's event. To learn more about the ways you can participate, please click on the Messages button in the lower left corner of your screen. We encourage you to interact by using the Messages panel at any time to ask questions regarding content or to request support. Your feedback is important. Please take a few minutes to complete the poll questions that are showing on the left side of your viewing console. If you experience any technical difficulties, please first refresh your browser. If this does not resolve the issue, please send in a message and we will be happy to assist. I'd like to introduce Nathan Williams. Nathan, you have the floor.
Great. Thanks, Jen, and thanks everybody for joining us today during our webinar. This is called Simplify and Streamline Accounts Payable, Intelligent Accounts Payable Solution with SAP BTP. My name is Nathan Williams. I'm a practice director at Nimble. I lead our development and innovation practice. And with me today, I also have Jim Barton from SAP. Jim is a strategy and customer innovation lead for the business technology platform. Real quick before we get started, I wanted to give a quick overview about Nimble, a little bit of background to give just a quick understanding of who we are and what we do. Nimble was founded in 2004. Since then, we've grown to over 2,500 employees operating in over 20 offices around the world. We're at a size and geographical presence today, which allows us to work with large enterprise customers on a global scale, but not too large, where we can remain agile and responsive, working with mid-market and smaller customers in our local markets. So from a services and offerings perspective, we really offer the full gamut from data and analytics to customer experience to intelligent technologies, and primarily ERP in the digital core. And that's whether that's S4 or ECC. And we support these lines of businesses from an end-to-end perspective. So from strategy to delivery and also to managed services. And to us, the focus is on how can we help our customers leverage technology to gain competitive advantage. So it's really about what's available in the market, using products and tools for how they can best serve our customer purpose. So our approach really always starts with the business, and we seek out challenges, issues, opportunities from a pure business perspective, and then we like to determine which technologies are available, which trends are occurring in the market, and then apply those in order to help our customers gain a competitive advantage. And today, we're going to be covering an example of that, where we identified an opportunity and a challenge with a common process and determined how we can use leading cloud technologies from BTP to package a solution to address those challenges. So today, we're going to start out by giving a quick overview of what BTP and innovation means to customers and businesses. Jim will be helping with that. I'm going to give a quick overview of the business case for this solution that we developed. And I'll get into some details of that and go through some of the automation and intelligence capabilities that come with BTP in order to drive and power that solution. And then we'll spend a few minutes talking about how our solution can be adapted to your environment and how you can jumpstart on these innovations. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Jim, who's going to talk about driving business success through innovations in BTP.
Terrific. Thank you, Nathan. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everybody. I've been involved with the business technology platform, or BTP, as we've been calling it, for about 7 years now. And I've seen the BTP evolve from its early days to now its top priority as a key element in SAP's overall strategy. You know, it really is the linchpin for connecting, for integrating, and more importantly, innovating all of SAP's solutions. So today, again, I'm going to introduce you to the business technology platform and illustrate why partners like Nimble are, at the center of SAP's innovation strategy. And as Nathan described, and we'll describe how they help companies become intelligent enterprises by driving business success through innovation with the business technology platform. So to do a quick level set and explain how the IT world got to where it is today. First, software as a service applications typically address very specific functional areas. And what enterprises found is individual lines of business, that's your sales team, your HR team, your finance teams, they essentially started to go around their internal IT departments because they got tired of waiting for innovation. And they would end up buying point solutions that fulfilled various functional gaps. The result of this has been an explosion of SaaS applications that have been deployed in enterprises. And integrating and managing all of them has really become a literal nightmare for the IT department. Now, as you can see here, the average enterprise has over 200 SaaS applications that is deployed in their environment. And that number is increasing at 25% year over year. But furthermore, the enterprise companies, they're managing on average over 25,000 app connections, with 50% of the stack changing every 2 years. So if you just stop and think about it, that's just a huge amount of time that IT is spending just maintaining what you already have. And this takes away from their time to innovate, which in turn kind of continues that negative cycle of finding external solutions to help keep pace with what your company needs to remain competitive. So if you go to the next slide, again, what do all these numbers add up to? Opportunity. So our shared customers, they want to adapt, they want to invent, and they want to push new ideas to market faster than they ever had before. And to do it, they need two things. One, they need a way to manage the overall environment, and they need a way to incorporate innovation into their regular activities so that innovation, it's a constant that's continually pursued and it regularly brings new innovation into the business. And this all, of course, has to be done without exploding costs and creating an unmanageable IT infrastructure. So at a high level, all enterprises processes generally fall into four categories. There's recruit to retire, that's your HR systems. There's lead to cash, that's all of your systems that are related to selling your product or service. There's source to pay, which again, the systems that you use to buy items to help run your business. And finally, design to operate, which are the systems for managing your business. Okay, these are of course four broad categories, but they all need to communicate with each other. For example, you need to pay your salespeople, presumably based on their results. So your HR and your finance systems need to be connected. You have to order supplies, so source to pay and design to operate need to be connected. The point is, you need to seamlessly connect all of your business processes, and the more these processes integrate and work together, the more intelligent your enterprise. And that's what the business technology platform allows. Whether the systems are internal, external, on-premise, or cloud, it doesn't matter. The business technology platform can link all of them. And when you connect items together in new ways, that really is the definition of innovation. So the BTP's got four different areas. It's got database and data management, analytics, application development and integration, and intelligent technologies. What I really want to emphasize about this slide before I go into some finer details is the fact that there is a broad and cohesive framework that SAP uses for all of our solution development. And it's the same platform that partners like Nimble use to, frankly, benefit all the people on the call today. So again, Nimble, as Nathan started with, they identify the trends and requirements that they see as a result of speaking with all of you. And they've got the same tools and structures and processes to help build solutions that ultimately seamlessly integrate into your SAP investment. If I bring it back quickly to the innovation discussion, this helps again with the speed of bringing new capabilities to market. There's over 15,000 SAP partners who are developing solutions on BTP. And again, partners like Nimble are what help us keep pace with innovation. So just to quickly go through these before passing back to Nathan, the database and data management layer, that's of course what allows you to clean, store, integrate, and manage all of your data. In analytics, There's, of course, the traditional business intelligence capabilities, but there's also augmented analytics, predictive analytics, and an area that's getting a lot of attention now by businesses is planning, particularly as it relates to risk analysis. App development integration, that includes two key technologies, which is the integration suite. That suite comes with over 1,800 pre-built integrations, 2,100 plus APIs, and over 160 third-party connectors. The second part is the SAP extension suite. And this is what allows the creation of applications and extensions and enhancements. And it's actually this part that enables partners like Nimble to decouple their IP from SAP's core solution code. And so that's what gives you and them the flexibility to make modifications independently, and you don't have to worry about its impact to other business processes. Finally, the intelligent technologies, things like digital twinning through the machine learning, quick label setup applications quickly, and it also includes, of course, robotic process automation and conversational AI, which is what allows companies to reduce manual activities to become a lot more efficient. So with that said, I will pass it back to Nathan to describe more about Nimble's solution.
Great. Thanks so much, Jim. And I thought that was a great overview of the high-level capabilities of BTP. And we're going to come back to some of those areas that Jim touched on, primarily around extensions, app dev, and intelligent technologies, because those were some of the pillars and services that we decided to activate in order to meet this business challenge that we're about to talk about. But again, I want to come back to that because, as I mentioned earlier, this solution started from Nimble wanting to address a challenge, right? And we believe that in order to offer or develop or package a purposeful solution, that's where the starting point needs to be. It needs to be centered around a use case that solves a problem, addresses a business challenge, or maybe it's an area where we can create competitive advantage. So specifically today, and from a line of business perspective, anytime we've worked with a finance department, or even more specifically, accounts payable clerks that manage accounts payable directly, the message and the theme is very common. Managing accounts payable is just not really the best experience, right? And that is from a number of different reasons. The process is antiquated or complex. There might be a lot of tools or screens or transactions that are used, and the experience might not be digital yet or pleasant, right? Or based off of a commercial grade application. So you've got a facetious quote here, right? So usually I like to challenge anyone on the call who's worked with accounts payable managers or clerks. Have you ever heard anybody, that's neck deep in this process say this quote? Probably not. So the point is the process is complicated. It's meticulous, it's complicated, and those things result in errors. And those could be from manual activities or human errors, and those errors have real financial impacts. And the complication stems from these processes that are manual, that require humans to do a lot of the things like checking or validating or posting. And taking a look at the bigger picture, if you're working with suppliers, you know that you probably don't have that much control over them, right? Depending on the volume of suppliers, some suppliers are massive, they're big, some are smaller with smaller infrastructure. If you take a look at how invoices are coming into your system and how you're consuming them, they can be coming in from all different formats, whether they're mailed in or scanned or keyed in, or maybe it's EDI. The bottom line here is that this process is really complicated. It's made up a lot of simple tasks, but these simple tasks often have too many steps, requiring a lot of different collaboration across different teams and departments. To that point, it's also inefficient. Whenever I go snowboarding, I always kind of chuckle at the skiers going up the hill without using lift. That's a big challenge, but to me, it's inefficient. Inefficiency leads to errors, and that leads to issues with cash flow. Also, from the user experience, these inefficiencies could lead to unhappy AP clerks, right? Large organizations might have several AP processes and tools that are spread over a lot of different locations, legal departments, and company codes. And so that's a lot of people and a lot of systems and a lot of manual work. So these inefficiencies no doubt drive costs and delays. And I mentioned the aspect of the suppliers earlier. This also has impacts on relationships with suppliers, right? Simply from the fact that collaboration is somewhat paralyzed. But all that being said, this is where our solution comes in, and really accounts payable after all of this is an opportunity, both from a technology perspective and a way to respond to that voice, right? The voice of the customer. So what we did at Nimble, we identified these complications, these inefficiencies across all of accounts payable, and kind of flip the script, so to speak. So what if instead of an old, outdated process that was based off of maybe SAP GUI screens, the AP clerks could work in a modern digital environment, almost like a commercial application, right? And the steps needed to validate, post, approve invoices. What if we could not only consolidate them, but also introduce automation so that these clerks can spend more time on higher value added tasks? So with SAP's business technology platform, this traditional process, this antiquated process, becomes an opportunity to be more efficient and ultimately save more money. And so that's how the intelligent accounts payable solution from Nimble was born. This is a side-by-side extension. And that Jim mentioned that concept of extensions to S4 or extensions to ECC earlier. And it's a prepackaged offering that we developed using it's called Microservices from BTP. I'll touch on that later. And these microservices are strategically enabled to really transform your accounts payable process, regardless of your size, regardless of the complexity of your background processes, regardless of the version of your SAP backend. You'll hear a concept and a technology that you're probably familiar with, the SAP Fiori. We've added that to modernize and streamline the user experience. We've activated a service called Workflow Management that enables automatic routing from incoming invoices and automated approval. And then also we've introduced intelligent technologies like machine learning and optical character recognition and conversational AI to save time and cut down on mistakes. So that being said, that was really a kind of a quick overview of the business case and our why for developing the solution. Let's go in and take a deeper dive and take a look at this solution. And at a really high level, this is a hybrid solution that we developed. Ultimately, it could be hybrid or fully cloud, based off of SAP Fiori and, as I mentioned, strategic BTP microservices. There is a unified Fiori front-end experience, which we can scale to multiple back-end SAP systems and multiple accounts payable processes. There's workflow that is initiated from incoming invoices, that it's routed to AP clerks for review, edits, approval, and posting. I'll also talk about something called SAP Screen Personas that we integrated with SAP BTP that is called for posting the invoices in the backend system. So just a quick process overview from AP perspective and how we modeled our solution. We've got essentially 5 process areas, right? The receive, interpreting and storing the invoice, validating and processing, the posting, and the analysis. All of this is consumed by the AP clerks and the approvers and everybody in the AP process, either through a mobile or desktop version. And we've also have this concept of microservices and BTP that enable this process as you move through it. So the principal thought behind microservices is applications are easier to build and maintain if they're broken down into smaller units. And these smaller units work together and then later communicate among themselves via APIs. And this is really in contrast to the traditional monolithic application development build, which is built in a single unit. So using a microservices architecture, we're able to build these apps easier, scale them more efficiently. They're faster to develop. So developers can build more complex applications quicker using these libraries of microservices. And the microservices, we've got those examples up here: Document Center, Document Service, Workflow. I'll go into those in a little bit more detail. But there's no need to really rely on the SAP core when the databases is not updated or read in order to leverage these. So let's go into this process and break it down a little bit further, and then we'll talk about how technology enables this. So supplier invoices often come through various channels in different formats, and needs to be received in, let's say, an agreeable format and mode of communication. So for legal and compliance reasons, in some countries, suppliers just prefer to send in the invoices in like the physical mail. So in that way, the customers do the scanning. So when these physical invoices are received in the mailroom, the invoices might be prone to human errors such as duplicate scanning, or maybe the scan quality is poor. So we have OCR, optimal character recognition, as well, that we have integrated in the solution, but that might not be intelligent enough to detect those human errors. So downstream, when our AP solution is triggered after it receives the invoice info, it's able to catch these issues and direct workflow accordingly. So we also have a more advanced and futuristic option, and that is to integrate SAP's machine learning. It's a little bit lighter, and it's got some more advanced capabilities to be so have some self-learning ability. So to complement with the machine learning service, we also have SAP's document storage service on the cloud on BTP, and that could be used to store unstructured information. We've got the SAP HANA service to store structured information, and we can also use open connectors to connect to any document repository of your choice. So if you have Google Drive, for example. So we've got two additional steps here: the validating process, as well as the post. So as soon as the invoice or credit memo information is received by our AP solution, it analyzes it to see if there's any discrepancies with the information that was received from OCR or machine learning. So some of the preliminary validations could be a duplicate scan check, a master data check, missing PO check, so on and so forth. So if it's a PO-based invoice, then the solution automatically performs a three-way match. That's between the purchase order, the goods receipt, and the invoice. And it formally approves without the need for any human intervention. And I'll show you that in how that's broken down in our architecture. So the point is this significantly reduces the time and the effort for AP clerks, AP managers, and frees them up instead to handle more complicated approvals. We've also enabled smart routing of the workflow to specific teams like purchasing or finance, depending on the probable root cause. And the workflow in our solution is able to analyze what could be the probable cause and provides options to move forward within the workflow to the appropriate team. So, for example, when someone tries to submit the information from a Fiori screen, the workflow will automatically try to post the invoice. And we believe that more than 70, probably 80% of the invoices are processed automatically by the system, just as long as these business rules and the business criteria is met. So last slide on the deep dive, the reporting and analysis of processed or pending invoices is really an umbrella activity that takes place throughout the life cycle of the AP process. So we've got pre-built reporting applications that can be run via desktop or mobile browsers to get really fast information right to your fingertips. The data can be mapped to, for example, a SAP HANA data source, so we can have really superior performance. We've also created custom Fiori applications that are interactive in nature to view the workflow information for tracking purposes. So you can search where an invoice is in the approval process, how long it's been there, who's it's assigned to, and other tracking information. One last point, in addition to the workflow tracking report application, if an AP manager is interested in viewing different key performance indicators like volume of invoices posted automatically, there's a set of custom reports that we have for that as well. So some of these reports are graphical, interactive as well, so the user can drill down to view the detailed information. So I know this is not the easiest slide to read because there's a lot of boxes and content on here, but I wanted to provide a high-level glance into the end-to-end process of the solution. I promise I won't go through all of these boxes. I just want to highlight this center swim lane here for SAP BTP workflow. And this swim lane includes and identifies all of the processing steps that we are automating by using the workflow management service in BTP. So activities like searching for invoices, notifying approvers, searching for purchase orders, checking duplicates and errors, two-way matching, three-way matching, all of these before or traditionally are performed by a human, again, across maybe multiple systems, maybe it's across many SAP transactions or screens. So our workflow, essentially within a click of the button, can go through these and handle decision points and route approvals and make decisions and do tasks in the system automatically. So that saves a lot of time and obviously automates a lot of the actions in the AP process. So I want to go through some of the automation capabilities and highlight some of the microservices in our solution. And again, I won't go too deep into this slide, but of course, with any SAP presentation, I like to include one architecture slide for if there's anybody technical on the call. But essentially, our solution is built and it's an extension developed and innovated on business technology platform in the Cloud Foundry environment, right? This is the let's call it the new environment from BTP. And all of the icons on the left here, these are the microservices that we've selected and enabled. So when Jim was going through that infographic of business technology platform with the 4 pillars, right? There's analytics, there's database, there's app dev, there's integration, there's intelligent technologies. That's not really to overwhelm you. When you have a business case, we cherry pick and we strategically select which services are going to be needed in order to achieve your business advantage, right? It might be a HANA database service to store information. It might be an integration suite in order to pull data and extract data. Or it might just be a Fiori portal service in order to build a portal with some complementary services, right? The point is you don't have to implement everything. You cherry pick based off of your priorities and your needs. And as far as the box to the right, this solution can tap into and connect to any backend, right? So right now we have SAP S/4HANA Cloud, but if you're running ECC6, we can integrate the BTP AP solution with your ECC backend system. So again, we have some solution services like the workflow I mentioned. We've got conversational AI. This is a specific chatbot that is a service on BTP that allows users to say, or look up status of the AP or understand if there's been anything rejected. So it allows users really to quick access to information. Carrying on, I mentioned SAP Fiori earlier as well. This was the front end experience for the users. And just real quick, SAP Fiori, this provides, as I mentioned, an easy, much more intuitive way to run SAP applications as well as innovations in your organization. There's a focus on intelligence, consistency, and really an overall integrated user experience. So the objective is for Fiori to really help reimagine or redefine the way our users are consuming SAP and working as part of the whole digital era and digital transformation. And SAP Fiori is essentially, it's a design system that we're able to create specific business apps that have a consumer grade experience that turn AP clerks or managers or just casual SAP users that they can run simple screens from any device. So you don't have to know SAP, but you can be an SAP expert with a Fiori user experience. The other aspect that we implemented with this solution is a technology called SAP Screen Personas as well. So SAP Screen Personas, we integrated this with SAP BTP as well. This is a software product. It's included in your existing ERP license, and it really allows you to personalize SAP screens, automate business processes, and you could run them anywhere on your phone or tablet or desktop. So we've got an example here of a traditional SAP screen. So this is going to have a lot of different tabs and buttons and fields, and we could use screen personas to quickly slim this down in order to have a more Fiori-like experience, right? This isn't SAP Fiori, but if you wanted to have a Fiori like experience and wanted to do that rather quickly, that screen personas is a wonderful option. The users are able to increase productivity by having access to fields and buttons and tabs that they need to run their business process. It reduces time and cost. You can collect all of the functionalities in one single screen, so there's really less of a need to train users across multiple screens and transactions, and it really improves data quality as well. And there's some other intelligence and added features behind screen personas. Is we can script these screens together and have auto population of data. So for the approvals and certain aspects of our solution, this was a great way to complement BTP and complement Fiori as well. So getting into kind of our package and jump starting the innovation, just an overview of what this is. This is, as I mentioned in the beginning of the webinar, this is something our team has developed and packaged as a hybrid, meaning developed and innovated in BTP, but connected to an on-premise backend solution or a cloud solution, right? So meaning we did innovate it in BTP, but we could connect it to an S/4HANA cloud system as well. So we can deploy this to quickly jumpstart your efforts to start unifying, consolidating, and streamlining the invoice process. And the idea here is that you're able to accelerate the implementation of this type of innovation project by consuming that ensemble of microservices. And there's also some ABAP artifacts or plugins that we need to deploy in the back end, but it's a rather efficient approach to taking advantage of an innovation. What's provided in this package is the front-end application, the workflow engine, and as well as some reporting tools as well. So again, each customer is going to have specific guidelines for how they want the application to look and feel, right? That could be from styling to colors and fonts and overall user experience. And then of course there's going to be unique requirements when it comes to the workflow and the levels of approval and all of that stuff. So our package has a baseline for that, and there's a t-shirt size, meaning there's a standard and extended version. So it's while it's packaged, it's also very customizable, or we can tailor it to your unique scenario and business requirements, or even if you're looking to add more to achieve more of a competitive advantage. And so this is how the Jumpstart works. It's very straightforward. Essentially, there's a component of, call it on-premise preparation, and of course, this is if you have S/4HANA or ECC on-prem. And this is where we have a package of agents and tables that connect to the inbound invoices to SAP. There's cloud preparation too, so the setup of BTP. And then, as I mentioned, any adjustments too. So if we need to make some changes or add approvals or add some Fiori tiles or maybe add additional intelligence with the chatbot, we can certainly adjust this solution to be specific to your needs as well. So just to wrap up, just a couple more slides. Highlighting the impact, I think the business case for this solution, we feel it's pretty strong. SAP customers of all sizes and industries are most likely they're running AP, but they're also probably facing the complexities or some variation of the complexities that we discussed. And with the innovations and the microservices available from BTP, there's really an immediate opportunity to use a side-by-side extension like what we've shown today as as a first step to digital and adopting a cloud native application. So if you're running an on-premise ERP system and you haven't gone to the cloud yet, this is a great way to conduct a hybrid approach or your first steps to going to cloud. And the impact of the solution from a cost savings perspective, this is typically makes it an important topic for CAOs and CFOs. So in conclusion, the nimble, intelligent accounts payable solution built on SAP BTP it's designed to save time and money, period. These savings are a result of process efficiencies, user satisfaction, and a significant decrease in mistakes and errors. So with that kind of wraps up my content. I've got a couple email addresses, myself and as well as Dan Evanoff, who's our sales director. And really to get started, it's having a quick conversation to understand, if these complexities and these inefficiencies should these resonate, and then also discussing how we can we can kickstart this with design thinking, and that's typically how we approach these types of solutions and innovations is begin with design thinking. So with that, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen, and I'll go on camera. And I think we have a couple questions, and Jim and I will both. So I'll take a breath. There's one question that came in, and you presented that this solution runs on SAP BTP. What if we are on premise with no plans to move to the cloud? So we talked about this a little bit from a hybrid approach, but Jim, I'll let you tackle this one.
Yeah, sure. Great question. And one that I think several people probably have. A short answer is not a problem. I mean, it's really up to you. We find that a lot of people will use it in the way that Nathan's described as an opportunity to start to move over to the cloud, so in a hybrid type of environment. So the answer is yes, no problem, and it's something we do quite often.
Great, thanks, Jim. And the another key question, and of course this was going to come in, is how long does a typical implementation take? So I hate to use the consulting answer, it depends, but it does depend. It depends on how many geographies are in scope, how many company codes, if we need to add levels of approval, so on and so forth, right? So I think if a good starting point would be 8 to 12 weeks for a fairly light implementation, and probably 15 weeks plus for something that's very, very complex, and if we need to tweak a lot of things. That being said, I mean, with innovation projects and rolling these types of things out, we do recommend, if we wanted to start with an MVP or minimally viable product, we can certainly do that in a matter of weeks to get started. There's also, taking that even a step back is at Nimble, we typically start with, I mentioned design thinking, but we can also do a couple design sessions and build the initial solution in a clickable mockup. So a tool like Figma, where you're not procuring an BTP, you're not doing any configuration on the system, but we're doing some screen design and we're developing a clickable mockup, and we could do that in a matter of a couple weeks. Let me see. Another question. Are you using Kyma or ABAP or Cloud Foundry runtime? So for this particular solution, it's built in Cloud Foundry. Kyma is certainly an option. There are some ABAP components as well, but this is built in Cloud Foundry. Jim, I'll let you take this last one if you would like. It says, can this solution be used to automate other processes outside of finance and accounting?
It's a good question. How I'll answer that is to say that I think yes. I mean, the template, if you almost will, that Nimble has created, the concept of being able to take external data, to validate it, to vet it, to incorporate it. Absolutely. I mean, you can just take it and then use it in a lot of different ways. So I think in terms of the modification, that's why we want to reach out to Nimble and ask what's possible. But on a very simple conceptual basis, absolutely should be very possible to do so.
Yeah, no, definitely agree. Sorry, I'm just watching some more questions. Looks like they're rolling in. Another one's similar around the timeline. How long did this project take to implement? So again, I think we're not really talking about a project specifically. We have done this in the past for other customers, and as I mentioned, it's ranged in timeline anywhere from 8 to 15 weeks plus. So again, it really depends on, as I mentioned, if there's the complexities of the AP process and how far you want to take it, right? So we have a package solution that gives a baseline. There's a standard baseline that includes X amount of Fiori applications, reports, approval levels, adaptation for company codes, and there's an extended version as well that includes more than that, as well as machine learning and chatbots. So it depends on kind of your organization. It depends on your processes. It depends on how many, maybe even how many production instances of ERP you have. Great. I think that is all the questions that we have coming in now. Looks like we're just about right on time, so we could give it another minute for questions, or we can wrap it up. I think, Jen, if I can turn it over to you to wrap it up, that would be great.
Great. Thanks, Nathan. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Just a reminder that you can access the event recording at the same URL you used to join today's live event. And I'd like to extend a thank you to both Nathan and Jim. This concludes today's event. You may now disconnect.